What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1, and after 1 week, have we made changes to our playoff predictions? Absolutely, we have, because a lot of things changed in week one. The way I viewed several teams absolutely changed, and we're going to get into my updated predictions. We do this every week, so we'll continue to update the playoff predictions throughout the season as we learn more about these teams and the winding road to the playoff changes. So let's go to the bracket, and we'll start with our top four teams first. So let's fill those in first. Our number one overall seed, I've still got Penn State. I think that there's still a good chance that they go 11-1, win the Big Ten championship. It's going to be a matter of, I think if an SEC champion is sitting there with one loss, I think that's probably your one seed. I don't know if there's a team in the SEC that's going to go 11-1 though. I just think that conference is so tough. I think you could see several 10-2 teams, but I'm going to go with Penn State for now as still the one seed, and they will host in the Rose Bowl. Number two seed, I'm going with LSU now. I think LSU wins the SEC. After what I saw against Clemson, we already knew the talent they had. We already knew about the offense. And now it looks like they've got a really good defense. Maybe it was one game. Maybe I'm overreacting, but that's all I have to go off of. That's all we've seen. And LSU, to me, look like they're a team that could possibly win the SEC. I do still think they probably lose a couple of games, though, just because their schedule is tough and there's a lot of difficult matchups. So LSU right there at number two. Possibly even going 11-1, 12-1 with the SEC championship win. And if they do that, then I think they go to number one. Penn State goes to number two. Number three for me is Ohio State. I think Ohio State, now that they've beat Texas, I think there's a pretty good chance they go 11-1 in the regular season. Then, again, lose to Penn State in the Big Ten championship. So that's where I've got the Buckeyes. Really, again, I just kind of changed that Texas predictor. Or I had them losing to Texas, so obviously that changed. And this team, I think, is too good to lose 2 games if Texas is not one of those losses. I just don't see that happening. So I think they're 11-1. They go to the Big Ten championship, like I said, and maybe lose a rematch to Penn State, even though I think Ohio State maybe wins the regular season matchup there. So the Buckeyes at number 3. Number 4 is going to be Georgia. You feel pretty good about Georgia getting to the playoff, at least getting to maybe 10-2 again. Schedule, I think, sets up pretty well for them. Texas, again, didn't look great, so maybe that's one you feel pretty good about. So yeah, I think Georgia, pretty much, really no change for Georgia, except I can't even remember now who I had in the SEC championship. I think it was Georgia and Alabama. So I still think they get to the SEC championship. So again, there are really no changes here with Georgia. They lose in the SEC championship, but still go 10-2 in the regular season, and they will be the 4 seed hosting or playing in the Orange Bowl. All right, so next we go to a couple of at-large teams that have to get in. We've got to have a group of 5 team, and we're going to go with Tulane. They looked really good against Northwestern, a Northwestern team that you guys know I was pretty high on coming into this season. Maybe I was wrong there. We'll see. But they look good. I think Jake Retzlaff is the difference. Adding him at quarterback makes this team a real contender to get to the playoff. I really like South Florida as well. So those are the 2 teams that I considered. Again, Retzlaff may be the difference for me, but I think either one of those teams, I think those are the front runners to win the American. I think the American champion this year probably going to get in, unless we see like a UNLV, who they didn't look great in their week 0 game. I don't even know if they played last week, but yeah, that's a team you could watch out for out of the Mountain West. I don't really think a team out of another conference. I just think the Mountain West and American conferences are better than those other ones, those other group of 5 conferences. So I think you're going to see one of those champions here, but I'm going to go Tulane as the 12 seed. And then also automatically getting in, we've got Arizona State winning the Big 12. I think this team probably loses at least a couple of games in the regular season. I think the Big 12 is wide open. There's a lot of parity, but I do think at the end of the day, Arizona State comes out of there. And who knows, they might even lose to Mississippi State. If they lose that game and then they go, let's say, 7-2 in the Big 12, but they win the championship, but they're sitting there with 3 losses, could we even see Arizona State at 12 and Tulane at 11, depending on how Tulane's season goes? That's something that would be interesting. But again, I think Arizona State's going to prove they're a really good team this year. There are a lot of good teams in the Big 12, though. Again, that conference is pretty wide open. I want to see more, and then maybe I'll change my prediction. But as for now, yeah, I got to stick with Arizona State. Okay, so let's go and fill in the rest of these. We'll have our ACC champion here At number 5, Clemson. I know Miami, they look like the best team in week 1. Clemson did not look great, but I still trust that this team, the veterans that they have, I think they'll be okay. They might even lose another game, but I think they will wind up winning the ACC at the end of the day over Miami. I think Miami is in a great spot as well. I think those are clearly your top 2 teams in the ACC. Maybe Clemson's not, though. Maybe LSU's not that good and Clemson's not that good. I mean, it's early. It's hard to tell. But my gut tells me Clemson's going to bounce back and they're going to be just fine. But I think Miami's sitting there right there. Maybe they go 11-1, then losing the ACC championship. I think Miami's this looked like a really good team. So I do think Miami. I feel good about them. I feel different than I have in the past. I've been high on Miami before in the preseason, but then when we got to the season, maybe I didn't feel as high for different reasons. But this year it seems like they've got the offense and the defense, and I think Miami is going to get to the college football playoff. I've got them at number 6. Number 7 team for me is Texas A&M. I still think this team can get to 10-2. Again, we haven't seen a whole lot, so we'll find out over the next few weeks. But I like the Aggies. I like their roster. I think they're going to be good. And then another team out of the SEC, or excuse me, no, we're going to go to the 8 seed now. Oregon, the number 8 team. I think they go 10-2. I haven't seen really, we haven't seen them play a quality opponent yet, so it's hard to judge. But based off of the roster talent for now, I'm going to keep them there at 10-2 and an 8 seed. Number 9 seed is going to be Florida, and this is actually a team that I've got going 9-3. I think 9-3 in the SEC is going to get them in, especially if they beat Miami. That's going to be a huge non-conference win for the Gators. And then, that Florida State game, though, now starting to look a little bit tricky. I didn't put Florida State in here because of it was just one game, and I don't want to overreact too much. But Florida State could possibly enter into this conversation as well, and maybe they knock, could we see 3 ACC teams get in with Clemson, Miami, and Florida State? That would be wild. I don't think anyone would have predicted that. But I think it's a possibility if Florida State is legit, because I do believe Clemson and Miami are really good teams. So that'll be interesting. Florida, they've got a tough schedule. Again, I don't know how good that Florida State team's going to be. That would possibly, if I change my prediction in that game, then that would change things. I think then Florida does not get in the playoff. But for now, I'm going to put them there at 9-3. And I think a 9-3 SEC team gets in over some 10-2 teams out of other conferences, like even a 10-2 Indiana. When you look at their resume, what it would look like, I think a 9-3 Florida or a 9-3 Oklahoma would be ahead of a 10-2 Indiana. And there are other examples, that I could give as well. But speaking of 9-3 Oklahoma, I've actually got them at number 10. So I have Florida and Oklahoma in the college football playoff at 9-3. They've got brutal schedules, but I think the committee is going to reward them for those schedules, and I think they will get in. I look at a Texas team that maybe goes 9-3 now. Their resume wouldn't look as good. It just wouldn't. So I think Florida and Oklahoma clearly would be in over like a 9-3 Texas team. So there you go. 9 and 10, both 9-3 SEC teams. Let's go quickly. These are hypothetical matchups. So we're just going to kind of quickly go through who could potentially win between Oregon and Florida. I'm going to say Florida goes on the road. I think DJ Lagway could be the difference here. Gators get a big win. I think Clemson takes care of Tulane, but that could be actually a good game. Then you got Texas A&M and Oklahoma. This is a coin flip type game. I think home field advantage maybe makes a difference here. Texas A&M wins. I think Miami has proven that they can win a playoff game. I think they could beat Arizona State at home. I got Miami winning this game. Penn State over Florida. I think just the Nittany Lions, the better team there. Clemson, Georgia. This is a tough one, but I'm actually going to go Clemson. I think Clemson, again, I'm looking for them to bounce back. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to bounce back. LSU against Texas A&M. I think the Tigers win this one. And then you got Miami, Ohio State, really back and forth on this game. I want to see more out of Ohio State's offense. So I'm kind of just guessing what that's going to look like. If it does not come around, I think Miami would win this game. I think it probably will come around, though, and I think Ohio State wins this one, and we get this Final Four. Penn State-Clemson was my preseason national championship. I have Penn State winning. I will have them winning this game. LSU-Ohio State should be a great one, but I really, really liked what I saw from LSU. I think they win this game, and we get a Penn State-LSU national championship game. You go back to my predictions the last couple of years. I've had Last year I had Ohio State preseason. The year before I had Michigan preseason, and I stuck with that all the way through the season. I stuck with those teams. But then last year, after Ohio State lost to Michigan, I changed it. I changed that prediction. Even after they lost to Oregon, though, I still had them winning the national championship. So I don't like changing these predictions. It hurt me last year when I went away from Ohio State. And so until I see something that really makes me want to change my mind, I'm not going to. I'm sticking with Penn State, my preseason pick, to win the national championship. But we'll learn a lot more about them and these other teams as we go through the next few weeks. So that's my updated playoff predictions going into week 2. Give me your predictions, your thoughts on my predictions down in the comments below.